Hi everyone, my name is Giselle Ramos, and for my marketing project this semester, I chose the brand Apple. The reason why I chose Apple is because I believe Apple has such a great marketing strategy and has built such a great brand name for itself. And then another reason why is because I personally own Apple products and I have found them to be reliable. And if I ever did have a problem, its services were there to help me and aid me in the right direction. So let's go ahead and review Apple's marketing strategy. I'm trying to keep this short because I keep going over the time limit. So Apple has changed our technological world greatly, and it has changed the way we communicate, listen to music, and even work. Competitors like Samsung and Google have tried to reach Apple's success, but have not been truly successful. So how and why is Apple so successful? One thing we know is that Apple does not have a cost competitive advantage. And that is because if you're in the market for a brand new Apple product, the chances of finding it at a low discounted price are very low. So if you wanted a new product from Apple, there's very rare occasions where they will have discounts or have it at a low price. And according to Marco Tabini in the article How Apple Sets Its Prices, he states that Apple uses price maintenance, which means that they take advantage of its popularity of its products and exploits a quirk in the way retailers are allowed to advertise their merchandise. So this pretty much means that retailers aren't allowed to lower the prices because Apple knows that because its products are so popular, people are going to pay the price that is set for them. So Apple's consumers focus on the perceived value of its products as opposed to the need of its products. An example of I think of when I think about this is if you need a phone, you can purchase you can still get a smartphone that is significantly cheaper, but you're going to buy an Apple product because of its brand and because you believe that you're receiving more value for your money itself. So Apple doesn't have cost competitive advantage, but it does have product and service differentiation competitive advantage. What this means is that Apple provides something that is unique and valuable to its buyers beyond price. A reason for this is because of Apple's reliability and image. So Apple does provide products that are very reliable, and it does have a very high brand image that it has provided for itself. So that is Apple's marketing strategy. Let's go ahead and move on to trends and pricing. So one trend that I can think of that would affect Apple is the ever-changing technological world that we live in. We're always advancing, but I believe a reason for our advancement is because of Apple. And I think if Apple continues to release a new iPhone or new products every year as it has done thus far, then it will continue to be successful. Its pricing, Apple has continuously kept its prices higher than its competitors, and the reason for that, again, is because Apple has created the self image of a high end premium brand. Another thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention on this blog post itself is that I think Apple does use reference pricing. And the reason why is because I've experienced this when when I purchased my iPad, I originally went in to buy an Apple MacBook, but it was a little bit over my budget. And upon seeing the, um, seeing that what I needed was also in the iPad for a cheaper price, I opted for the iPad, but I still stayed within Apple products. Um, and that is what reference pricing does. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know the definition of reference pricing, or my definition. So, reference pricing is a part of psychological pricing and happens when a consumer compares a lower priced item to a more expensive item. This leads the consumer to believe they are saving money. Another example of this can be when you're going to a car wash. They have the $6 car wash, the $8 car wash, and the $10 car wash. Each has a little bit extra from the $6 car wash. You're going to go ahead and purchase the $8 car wash because you think you're saving money from the $10, but you're not getting the cheapest option, which is the $6. So that is another example that Apple does use. And this pretty much goes hand in hand. They also do this with their products. They use the product line pricing tactic. So they have the iPhone XS, which is their newest model, with different storage spaces for different prices for you to decide what works best for you. Um, So yeah, Apple does use many pricing tactics that you don't think about because they're psychological, but in the end, they're using those to get you. And then the last thing we're going to go over today is going to be Apple's promotion strategy. So, oh, Apple does use Apple does have social media, but it rarely does post on there. So one of the things that that Apple uses to promote the most is its keynote speeches, and which is why I actually purchased this new iPhone, is because of the keynote speech itself. So what the keynote speech does is it shows product descriptions and specifications and new products that they are coming out within that year. So that is how they promote their products primarily. They also do have targeted ads throughout throughout Facebook and Twitter, but they personally don't post anything onto their social media platforms themselves. And then Apple also uses personal selling within its retail stores. Apple employs trained and knowledgeable employees that are able to help consumers with the Apple decision process of purchasing a product. Like mentioned in Post 10, so go ahead and check Post 10 out. I just can't go too much in depth to it because I've been going over the time limit. But Apple does train its employees with the Apple technique. It's APPLE, to ensure quality service. So it's great to know that Apple does go ahead and train its employees for equality of service throughout all stores. So, like I mentioned when I first started this presentation, I think Apple is a great, reputable brand, and I believe it'll continue to profit, especially since a lot of the technology we have today can somewhat be attributed to Apple itself. So if you guys are interested in reading a little bit more of my blog posts or my Tumblr, go ahead and check it out at iappie.tumblr.com. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation, and then I hope you also had a great semester.